The political situation in Rivers State continues to draw national attention. At the center is the tentative understanding between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, while public gesture points to reconciliation. However, questions remain over how long the arrangement will hold. It is unclear whether this represents a lasting settlement or simply a pause in the wider struggle for influence. The unfolding developments could shape not only governance in the state, but also internal dynamics within the ruling APC ahead of the coming elections. Now, joining me to discuss this further is George Turnah. He's the Zonal Secretary of the South-South Zone of the People's Democratic Party. I also have Bedford Berefa who will join the conversation at some point. But George, it's great to have you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure joining you this evening.
All right. Let me first start by asking your opinion on a story that I did read. It's a breaking story right now. And that is the president meeting with the sole administrator of the state. In that meeting, we had, of course, the finance minister and also the FCC chairman. Basically, largely, some speculate that it has to do with some sort of, will I call it, accounting for the administration, even though we know that the Senate has requested, or the House has requested, that his administration be probed. What do you make of this? Do you think that the sole administrator maybe did a great job, for the past 6 months? And looking at, in terms of financial, accountability, was he there?
Yeah, thank you. I've always maintained that the administrator was just a representative of Mr. President. By the declaration of state of emergency, the president, took charge of the affairs of Rivers State, but did so through an administrator. One would expect that for every decision, expenditure and all of that, the administrator would have cleared, by way of executive approvals from Mr. President. But whatever it is, peace has returned. The intent of the emergency rule was to ensure that Rivers State was returned to the path of good governance, democratic norms, and ensure that stakeholders work together. And I think that has been achieved. The rest of the financial handlings, for now, nothing is in the public domain, but I will expect that the administrator, as part of his winding down, would have also handed Mr. President with his exit notes. And I'm sure a number of explanations would have been captured in that kind of note.
All right, let's leave that for a moment. And you did say that in your opening remark that peace has returned to Rivers State, right? But for many who are observing the political, what I call it, current in Rivers, they're asking the question: is this really peace? Does this peace have depth, or is this just a facade?
Well, whatever we say now will just be in the realm of speculations. What is factual and what is real, as it is now, is that there is peace. The governor himself have given credence to the fact that he's at peace with the State Assembly and all the stakeholders, and particularly our leader, Chief Nyesom Wike. And I took particular note the governor's speech at Opobo during his Thanksgiving service. He recognized the brand new chairman and the vice chairman, and I'm sure that, to me, it's a bold statement, to show that every action, like Chief Wike said, everything they did, including the local government elections, the governor was part of it. So my take is that there's peace. The governor is back, the assembly is back, The Assembly have shown commitment to cooperate with the governor by asking the governor to come up with his executive communications, and I'm sure they are ready and willing to expedite, actions on some of those requests when they come in. We have also, in the course of all of this conversation, heard from our leader, Nyesom Wike, to the extent that, there are phone calls, their cordiality has returned between the governor and himself. And so all we ask for is that we consolidate on the peace that has returned, and not to
George
probe or anticipate. Some people don't like this, the fact that there is peace.
Why do you think some people don't like the fact that there is peace in the state, according to you?
Yeah, some people thrive in an atmosphere of chaos. Where there's crisis, perhaps they can't make a living. And for whatever reason. Otherwise, why will anyone want to speculate otherwise at this point?
Okay, but you might also want to say, look at it from the angle of those who maybe might be speculating if truly there is peace. From the angle of who exactly is in charge of the state in terms of, let's even leave maybe administrative affairs, true governance right now. Because many question if at all the return of Mr. Governor really gives him absolute control, given what we saw the past 6 months. So I'm going to put it to you. Is Governor Sim Fubara, is he really in charge of Rivers State?
Well, to answer the question, it's expected that the governor should take charge,
It's expected.
Whether you are actually, whether you're actually in charge or not is another. For instance, if a governor who is in charge will not allow the crisis that engulfed the state in the first instance, there was no need for that crisis. You manage stakeholders, you manage the assembly, you manage leaders, and show leadership. So one would expect that, yes, the governor is back, he should take charge. He must ensure that the government is comprised of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The governor is not a government. People make mistakes. There is this mistake, my government. No, government is a put together of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And even in the hierarchy of it, that the legislature comes first, because that is where the people congregate. That is like a congress, a representative capacity. So that when these three arms of government work together, government functions effectively. And now the chief executive, because he is the manager day to day, takes charge of the administration of the state day to day. So it behoves on him, he rests squarely on his shoulders to ensure that there's coordination amongst the three arms of government.
Does taking charge also connote making decisions outside the influence of the FCT minister, who was the former governor of the state?
Has there been any influence? Has there been any influence from the FCT minister?
Are you saying the FCT minister has never been involved in the decision making or maybe part governance of the state?
Can you lead me? Maybe you just lead me to one instance.
But the crisis that you talked about in the state largely points to the rift between the governor and the FCT minister.
That is not true. That is not correct. People misinterpret and give a lot of.
Okay, so what is your own? What is correct and true according to you?
The political crisis in Rivers State was between the governor and his state house of assembly. That's the government of the entire.
Who controls the majority of the state house of assembly, please?
The Rivers State house of assembly. They all key into a father. There is a father
So who is the father?
Chief Wike is the father. Now, when you have quarrels, right, you go to the father to resolve. But again, you must understand that, like I've described, the governor, who is the chief executive, has the role to play, that role of a coordinator. So if you don't galvanize, articulate your issues before the father to say, look, these are the issues we have, can you resolve? Help us to resolve these issues, then you have a problem. And that was simply the issue in Rivers State. It was a case between the governor and the State House of Assembly, but the governor could not get the father to resolve the crisis.
Why could the governor not get the father to resolve the crisis?
No.
Why could the governor not get the father to resolve the crisis? 30 seconds.
Okay, so that I mean, he is the one to, he will be able to provide answers, to that question.
All right, George Turnah, thank you so much.
It was for him to be able to get the father to resolve the crisis.
All right, we'll go on a quick break, Mr. Turnah. Once we return, definitely we'll dig deeper into this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I still have my guest with me, George Turnah, as the Zonal Secretary of the South-South Zone of the People's Democratic Party. And joining this conversation right now is Bedford Berefa, is the spokesperson for the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Bedford, let me come to you on this one. Let me also take your view on this, will I call it breaking story or developing story, where Mr. President did have a meeting with the sole administrator of Rivers State. In that meeting, we had the finance minister and, of course, the AFCC chairman, so amongst other officials were present there. I mean, they have been pushed by the House for a probe into the administration of the sole administrator. What's your take?
It's it's expected, of course, where the sole administrator took over governance in Rivers State on a sole administrator's capacity. Of course, there are some issues of financial issues, of course, that need clarification, and it's only expected that the House of Assembly call on relevant authorities to look deeply into the issues, the financial issues, for clarity. There's need for that clarity. That is a welcome development. It's expected of the House of Assembly to ask and demand for explanation, as it were, if there are gray areas of financial misappropriation.
I mean, for you personally, do you think that there are some specific financial issues that need answering or need clarity?
Of course. In 6 months, over 200. In 6 months, over 200 billion has been expended on what is termed the infrastructural development, and there's nothing handy, there's nothing physical, as it were, allegedly, to justify that lump sum of amount being expended within 6 months. Of course, there's need for that clarity in terms of infrastructures and in terms of other facilities that the sole administrator said that he did with money, and there's no commensurate equivalent of such expenditure. So it's expected of the House of Assembly to call, for justice, to call for explanation, which is expected.
Do you think this is just another political jamboree?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The announcement for when Abbas took over, it was unexpected. Both parties were not expecting that level of action from the president, so they were taken unawares. So I don't think it is another political gimmick. There's a need for explanation, and that is what the House of Assembly has done, which is expected. I respect them, for having that brilliant drive to demand, explanation from the sole administrator. And the president took a very quality stand, very acceptable stand, by inviting Abbas and other relevant organizations, other relevant agencies to critically look at what is being brought forward for further explanation. It's expected, and I give kudos to the presidency for doing that.
All right, Bedford, just before I go to Barrister Turnah, I also would like to know, I mean, governance has returned to Rivers State. The suspended governor is back. But many are looking at what is happening right now with, well, I call it through the microscopic lens, as regards the quality of peace, if truly it has depth. I mean, we've had conversations on this program, all through that period. Looking at what we are seeing right now in Rivers State, politically, there's peace. But do you think that this is just maybe a smoke screen?
Of course, we are watching. We are watching now. It's too early to give judgment, to give verdicts on the level of peace being ascertained in Rivers State. It's quick to give judgment. But the handwriting is clear. We see that Mr. Governor is yet to have control, is yet to have level of coordination.
you think the governor does not have control?
Yes, I think the governor needs to do more to exercise that role, that executive role of carrying out day-to-day activities in Rivers State politics. He must play the politics, to bring alignment, to bring the legislature in alignment with his vision and mandate as governor of Rivers State. There is a need for him to have that level of control, that level of influence, as the case may be. Maybe control is a stronger word. Influence, like I would like to say, as an executive governor, it builds on him to have that level of influence. If you look at governance in Nigeria generally, the executives usually have that level of influence.
Let me play with your words here. Let me play with your words here. Do you think that influence should come outside the control of the FCT minister?
No, the FCT minister is not the governor of Rivers State. Mentioning him in this discourse is even an aberration. It's not.
No, the reason why I did is because if we go back to the crux of all of this conversation, and it's the same conversation too I had with Barrister Turnah, is his name, or he was, a major figure in all of what we saw in the past 6 months in Rivers State. So I think mentioning him right now is not out of context. So are you saying he doesn't have control?
Why you not? Why you will not be totally wrong? It will not be too much politics mentioning the FCT minister. He is not in the corridors of power in Rivers State. He has that fatherly role to play, of course. He has that level of. He was governor of Rivers State for 8 years, and he did all he could to bring Governor Fubara to limelight, to political limelight. So he's expected, behind the doors, that that level of communication and interaction must transpire. But coming, to the public to keep mentioning him, it's as if he is the heaven and earth of Rivers State. No, that's not the case. He plays that fatherly role, but governance, it builds on Governor Fubara to carry out governance, to have that strength and the brilliant drive. He must have that level of boldness, to articulate, to coordinate, and to ensure that he has that level of influence within governance in Rivers State. But when I mean within governance, that's with the legislature and the judiciary. He must have that level of influence. He is the governor. If you listen, the FCT minister, he always say that I am no longer the governor. I am FCT minister. I was governor. Yes, I played my role in bringing this man to bear. I need that level of respect, or that level of inclusion, and particularly those figures that did all of this to ensure that you emerge as governor. You must secure the interest of the people, and that is politics for you. That is an ideology. That is the ideology of Wike. But to say now that he should be in charge, or he is in charge of the policy of Rivers State, that would not be correct to say.
Because I'm just going to leave you for now, because I know that if we cast our mind back, one phrase or one word that was consistently mentioned during the political upheaval was structure. And I believe we recall. But let me come back to you, Barrister Turnah. Barrister Turnah, I mean, for you as someone who is passionate about the state, what do you think right now should be, in terms of priority of Governor Fubara, as regards administration? What do you think should be the core issue that he should handle, as soonest as possible?
Yeah, well, he's back. One will expect that he hits the ground running. There has been too much of take backs in terms of development of the state, welfare of the people, and of course, so now he needs to put together, articulate his programs together, and sustain his engagement with critical stakeholders and partners in governance. For instance, the State House of Assembly is critical, the judiciary, of course, critical. Then you can't take away politics from governance. You must also be able to articulate, his programs in a manner that he's able to manage, interests and sustain this peace. There can be no meaningful development in an atmosphere of, rancor, crisis, chaos, and all of that. It is to his advantage that the state is peaceful, and the administration is his. At the end of the day, the report card is his. Today, look at the administrator. Whatever is done, it will be remembered by the things he did. So Fubara is back. I congratulate him and the assembly. It's time to work. It's time to work. We'll soon get to another round of political circle. So let him consolidate. I'm sensing that too much ground is beginning to, we're losing grounds again. I expect complete engagements, from day one. Hit the ground running, consolidate on this piece, get the assembly to work, and deliver the mandates and the promises are made to Rivers people.
All right. So you feel that it should have started since yesterday. Is stalling a bit?
In governance, time is of the essence.
All right.
Time is of the essence. It was good that you visited Mr. President to say I'm back, and of course, share a few thoughts. But let him now engage the assembly and get the state moving.
All right, Bedford, let's talk about the assembly itself and the whole politics around it. Even though we understand that there seems to be reconciliation, what do you think should be the priority now of the state assembly?
Is sustaining the peace, is to play their role effectively and also, consider the opinion of the government, of the governor, as it were, as regards, appointments and all of that. When they are first sitting, they made a very, very emphatic statement. Bring your, nomination for commissioners, your commissioner nominees for us to screen. That was very emphatic. That is to show that they are ready, for the state to continue on the path of progress, because my counterpart has already said that progress has been stalled, and there is need for cohesion, there's need for collaboration, and ensure that all grievances are buried, and peace, which is golden, must be sustained. And for the peace to be sustained, they have to play their role and play the politics, play their role effectively, and play the politics for Rivers State to move forward.
Let's look at the political party structure right now in the state. And I'm coming to you, George Turnah. At the local government level, we see the APC, the All Progressives Congress, sweeping it. At the state assembly, we also see the PDP, there, and also the APC. But I want to ask you, you are the Zonal Secretary of the South-South Zone of the People's Democratic Party. Do you think your party, the People's Democratic Party, is losing its grip in Rivers State?
I think it's not been too palatable. The outcome of the local government elections, of course, shows that all is not well. And we keep advising the party at the national level, to ensure that some of these crises are needless and not necessary. These are some of the effects. Now, the good thing is that Governor Fubara seems to be well-grounded in working with opposition colleagues in terms of the governance of Rivers State. Because a few months ago, we had was it APP? There was something one party, something.
APP.
That local government chairman and so it's not strange to him working with opposition local government officials, but as a party, the good news is that we're able to, through the help of our leader, Chief Wike, we're able to hold on to Obiakpo and Onelga, and one other local, and these are the critical local government that determine in terms of numerical strength and electoral numbers. But for me, now that gradually we're working on setting the party on a path of progress, I'm sure that things will get better.
All right, I just want a simple answer to this one. Are you worried that the governor of the state, who is a member of the PDP, are you worried he may defect? That's Governor Fubara.
Well, I've always said that defections are personal choices and decisions. I don't know what is in Governor Fubara's mind, but as a party that worked very hard, to campaign and canvass for votes, and then got the vote, defended the vote, and then we had a government. Of course, it comes with a lot of pains to have all of those efforts in one sentence, just swept off and then moved to another party.
All right.
It's really not a good thing. But I think that the National Assembly should look at the relevant laws again, the Constitution, relevant laws. We'll look at it again and see, party supremacy must have a place in our democracy.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the program, gentlemen. Barrister George Turnah, Zonal Secretary of the South-South Zone of the People's Democratic Party, and also Bedford Berefa, spokesperson for the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for your time.